In this live coding session, we're going to follow Martin Fowler's refactoring techniques of breaking things down into small steps that can be committed at any point without having a giant refactoring that blocks you for minutes, hours, days. And we're going to take advantage of something that Swift gives us, which is computed properties, to be able to switch one use of a property and move it somewhere else. Welcome back for another 60, not 90 minutes of live coding with me, John Reed, your favorite iOS technical agile coach. Welcome, Mudshark and Grant. Ever faithful. Let's see. And yeah, it's 60 minutes instead of 90 minutes that I've been doing. Hey, Josh. Thank you for dropping in just to say hi. Hi, Eric. The 60 minutes instead of 90 minutes is an experiment that basically I am falling behind in turning live content into curated blog content. And so I'm throttling back my live streaming just a little bit, back to 60 minutes. Hey, Garbob. So that I can have a chance to catch up. I am busily creating right now I'm trying to make them short, punchy videos demonstrating TDD with SwiftUI. So those will be coming your way soon. Let's see what's going on. Last time, we are working on bringing multiple rounds into Mastermind and starting that by changing our one single guess into multiple guesses or multiple rounds using the technique, the pattern, many of one. And that's where we were. But I actually had a thought as I reviewed last time's session that we discovered something kind of important that I want to revisit. Let's look at what we did last time. We talked about how iteration is better than a big plan with regards to, what was I talking about? Discovery tasks. We certainly talked about many of one. Did have TCR for a nice TDD workflow. That reminds me, I need to add this to my checklist. I have TCR turned off for the videos I'm making. So if test succeeds, let's commit and push. If they fail, let's just continue to do half TCR. It's not really TCR, it's just then traditional TDD with a little bit of assistance from a script. We had an interesting discussion about AI. That's right, and how one of the things we mentioned was that AI might increase individual productivity, but that so far the evidence shows that it actually decreases team productivity. In spite of the mania about it. And then this is the thing. We did a redirect with a computed property. And this is what I want to explore. Because it occurred to me, let's bring back Martin Fowler and the refactoring book. I've mentioned this many times, but this is the second edition. And it occurred to me that part of what we were doing with a computed property looked familiar to me and I couldn't put my finger on it. So I looked up move field. Pro tip for folks who work in Swift, who have not interacted with other languages, get out there and learn another language. It'll be really good for you. But one of the things that makes communication hard, learning hard, is that some of the terms are different. So for example, in Swift, we have initializers where everybody else has constructors. And we have properties, but everyone else talks about fields. That might be due to, is that an Objective-C thing? Objective-C didn't have properties in Objective-C, the first version of Objective-C, but in Objective-C 2, they introduced properties. Anyway, it's fields for everyone else that I know of. And I looked up move field. That's part of what we were doing. Here, let me go back to this. We were moving all calls to guess in redirecting it into the round, the guesses right here. Hey, MJB. Mohammed. Move field, 207. That's page number 207. And move field, the mechanics say, first, ensure the source field is encapsulated. What does that mean? That means that instead of, hang on, this looks like a good note from Grant. I always recommend learning at least 3 coding languages. Ideally, one that is object-oriented programming, one that is functional, one that is strongly typed, and one that is dynamically typed. It's good to learn an assembler, also good to learn an assembler or assembly language. I even took a course on processor microcode for the lowest level coding. Yeah, I don't remember a thing about microcoding, but I did. That was one of my classes. Great advice from Grant. It'll expose you to new ways of thinking about things. And in the end, languages are pretty much languages for the most part, but the paradigms are good to learn. And to become a multi-paradigm person, thankfully, Swift itself is a multi-paradigm language. So move field, the first step says ensure the source field is encapsulated. And that is so that, what that means is, yeah, lambda calculus. Instead of directly referring to a property, you should go through an indirection of, it's like a little wrapper function. It's funny that it doesn't list the reference, but I know that there is a sub-refactoring called encapsulate variable. The name throws me off a little because in the first edition, it was called self-encapsulate field. But it's the same thing. Create encapsulating functions to access and update the variable, and that lets you control, add that indirection to control it. And so instead of directly accessing a variable or a property, it's like go through an intermediate function first. That is what we are doing, but Swift gives us an advantage with computed variables. So I thought it would be nice to undo what we did last time. Last time, to make the first step to many of one, I did a technique called lean on the compiler, which was just to change, as you can see, the definition of guess from a single guess to an array of guesses, and just break everything and then go and fix it all up. That is not a bad technique when you can do it in a couple of minutes, which we did. But it's not a scalable technique. The thing that Fowler does in his book is he breaks things down to safe steps so that if you're interrupted in any way, well, so that you can practice continuous integration, so that you can commit all the time and be pulling and committing with your teammates all the time without having this giant refactoring step, right? So I want to redo the many of one transformation. I want to undo our changes. Sorry, but I think this will be interesting. So I think this will be easier if I use GitHub Desktop. I actually want to go back. Hey. I'm glad you think so. That means you're as much of a nerd as I am, Mudshark. This is part of the fun of doing a project where, it's your project. You don't have a schedule. I don't think I would do this in work. Oh. Thank you. I was going to go through and just start doing these one at a time. Can I do them all at once like that? Let's see. So if we minus n? I don't know what minus n is, but let's try. GUI finally, only to have this better suggestion, I think, because there's no, I don't see a way in GitHub Desktop to select all of these. This is, yeah. And I can cherry pick them, I can squash them, I can reorder them, but I can't revert them. You can only revert one at a time. So let's see if this will work. If this is head 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just try it. Wow. Okay. Thanks for the git minus n git revert. And what did I say? Head. I think I said 5. Let's see what happens. That looks right. That looks right to me. If it builds and runs and passes tests, then I will be satisfied. It builds. Oh, I forgot to warm up the test. Sorry about that. I usually do that. Thank you for this trick. I was hoping there was a nice way to say revert a chunk. Hey, 2Dino. Welcome back. Wow. Broken test for 4 months. There was a contract gig I had many years ago with a company I shall not name, where I realized not the tests were broken. It was like the actual app was broken in the Windows version for a long time and nobody had noticed. Tests. I was the one writing tests. I don't think they had a single test. So what is this? This is a giant revert. It is... I'm trying to... Sorry, I need to remember... Arlo's... Actually, I'll just look at mine. The problem with having only the message and not a prompt. Grant says, I've never regretted the time put into writing and maintaining tests, but I have often ended up regretting not putting more time into tests when they were skipped. I don't think this is a forced push because I didn't reset to the past. I am actually moving forward. I want to avoid force pushing in case somebody has this already in place. Messing with anybody else. So what is this? This is a giant thing. We've got in Arlo's new updated notation, dot is the same, caret is elevated or medium, and exclamation is high. So I'm going to say, it's fairly risky, but it is a refactoring. Files under manual refactoring or without whole project test coverage. Well, I'm going to call it elevated refactoring, revert last there we go. So let's try again. I want to do something like this. I want to transform the guess into multiple guesses that lives inside of something else. In fact, this should guide us. Come on. Rounds. I'm trying to think of how I want to do this. So let's start, let's find the guess, which is here in the game. I think it's that? Yeah. Let's Is that what I want? Or maybe we want to go straight to guesses. I mean, that's basically the step we did last time. Go straight to guesses and scary. How do I do this? Because I want the redirection, but I need to change this into a computed property, I need to give it a destination first. I think I want to do it this way. Guesses. There. That feels better. Now that'll still complain. But at this point, now I think I can change this into a computed property. I don't think we have a setter. Something like that. Will this work? The important thing that I was kind of struggling with was that I need to actually put the correct initial empty guess with the secret size into the right place. I predict that this will work. I'm so bold. I'm going to leave this. I'm just going to run tests and let's see. I did guess of 0 last time. Let's change this. Guesses sub-0. And I think that makes more sense. There we go. Okay, so this is a medium, so that's caret. Medium risk refactoring of change guess to array of guesses using redirect. How about I say redirect guess to guesses. There. That is the encapsulation step. Then the next thing in move, and yeah, it could have a setter. So the general problem statement is I'm redoing what we did last time in smaller steps. Last time I took the guesses, the guess, which was a var of guess, and I said, well, we wanted this to be an array, so let's, this is multiple rounds. So let's make it multiple rounds by making it an array, and we'll fix up all the places that the compiler is yelling about. What we're doing is we're doing this in smaller steps so that it doesn't matter how many references there are to guess. What we've done, and this is the point I wanted to really play with, is we have just done encapsulate variable, the encapsulate variable or encapsulate field refactoring, which normally with other languages means making a getter, a setter, and then updating all the callers. The thing that Swift lets us do with a computed property is, because a computed property is a function or a pair of functions with syntactic sugar, that you don't have arguments. So you don't have the parentheses. And that means all, yeah, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you've been with us for longer. This is Mastermind. Oh, this doesn't show you. Yeah, Mastermind, the board game. In fact, let me just give you a quick demo. Want to guess? We've got 4 colors. We got 4 slots. It's going to be none of them repeat. However, you can repeat your guess. So if we do all 4 in order, then it'll say how many we got correct and how many are in the incorrect positions. Let's go. We got 2 correct and 2 in the wrong positions. So let's mastermind. And we're now trying to make it multiple rounds, multiple guesses. This file status is annoying. If you do something outside of Xcode, it's just like just keeps the changes. So now we could change all the callers to guesses of 0. And that might be the right thing to do. Because now, here we go. For example, game guess can now replace it. I can't see. This should still work. We're essentially inlining the computed property. I think, yeah, Wordle is a lot like Mastermind. Let's see. Yeah, let's do this one at a time. This is a medium risk. I'll call it we're doing them. Let me go back to the move field 207. So the mechanics of move field are to encapsulate test, create the field in the target, run static checks, ensure that there's a reference from the source to the target. We did that. Adjust accessors to use the target. So that's what we're doing now. I'm going to be doing this a lot, so let me do that. That's kind of a fun idea, Mudshark, having it go boop, 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 boop. We might have a round. It is entirely possible that our naming is off, and that it should be. Oh wait, you said couldn't we rename game to round and have an array of rounds instead? The game is doing more. The game has the secret and determines whether it is done or not. So it's a slightly different abstraction. We'll get to creating a round. But I wanted to check on this, that a refactoring that is procedural and test supported is medium risk, as opposed to one that is automated or provable or only in test code. You know, I wonder if I can adjust my little TCR script so that I don't have to look it up. Yes, we are creating an aggregate type. That is what we will do. For those of you who don't know, DDD is domain-driven design, and is a useful set of ideas in a book. So let's find the other calls and let's do them one at a time. Okay, we're down to this one. Here we go. Where's the guess? There it is. Change this to guesses. Sub-0. Evaluate. Expect this to pass. There it is. Next. One at a time. That is the advantage of doing it in small steps. Smaller steps for the win. Sometimes bigger steps are not bad. If you can complete a bigger step in a couple of minutes, if it goes more than a couple of minutes, then I get nervous. Looking for, whoops. Wrong. This one. Okay, is win. There we go. Whoop. Guesses. And I think we have one more. There it is. Oh, a couple more. I think this is the last one. We'll find out soon enough. All right. Now we go back. I believe this is now dead code. I never quite trust this because in a complex project, Xcode doesn't always show the callers. So this is not quite TCR. This is half TCR. I have, yeah. If the tests pass, it commits, and my script does a commit and push. It's TDD. It's accelerated TDD, taking the spirit of TCR. The only way I can guarantee I've found that this is dead code is to remove it. Like, let's just try. If this is good, it'll all be good. Excellent. Removing dead code, that is guaranteed by whether or not it builds. So that is a low risk refactoring. Remove so if we look at our Git log, you will see all this is actually being pushed straight to the origin as we go. This makes it much more seamless. All right. So that was better than, I think, safer. It's more scalable to take the small steps and to discover how to do them. If we try to boil this down, it's to create the target. So now I want to create a new target where there is an idea of a round, and I want to make this the computed property. I think. Let's try it and see. Now we can bring back this. Was it this one? No. The game object is really a game. It's going to hold multiple rounds. Try class instead of struct. There we go. This is what we arrived at last time that I want to just steal, bring it forward. We're going to have rounds, with the guess. That's what we're doing. Guesses, we're now doing a move of this into here. By the way, this should build just fine. So why not commit it? This is it's not quite a new feature. It is currently a low risk refactoring because all we're doing is creating a target. Now I should be able to define rounds in here. There we go. And then this become rounds. Like that. And then the step, that the magic step, is to take guesses and redirect it. There we go. Do we want a setter? I don't know. I'm not sure we need that. I think we can get by without that. It's read only. If I've done everything right, this should just pass. Huzzah! So this is redirect rounds into guesses into inside there. I don't know about if you're following what's going on, because I've had a chance to think about this. And this is sort of what I imagined, but I wasn't sure how it was going to play out. Now we can take every call of this. Once again. Now I feel pretty good about saying, let's take everything that is guesses of 0 and do this in one step. This will be rounds, guesses 0. Replace all. Fingers crossed. It doesn't really matter if it fails, because if it fell apart then I'd go back and do them one at a time. So I did this before checking my work. My method was basically turning guesses into rounds, then migrating the methods that had feature envy. Yes, 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 that is exactly what we're doing. That is our redirect. Switch to switch something like that. Now this then will be dead code. And it is. Woo! Okay. That felt good. Let's figure out what we just did. First, I want to emphasize this. The refactoring book is gold. It really is seriously gold. And, you know, a lot of people went over the steps, the mechanics of each refactoring to identify it should do this, it should do that. And we're going, you know, some app code was never this strong, but JetBrains IDEs can, in certain languages, do self-encapsulate for you. I think. I'm pretty sure they could. But in the end, there are always going to be refactorings that are not automated. It is really good to know where to find them and to follow the steps. So we did a lay down the target. This is encapsulate without changing call sites. That is what we get to do with computed properties. Then go and adjust the call sites. And there was another thing we did though, and that was basically setting the target correctly first. That took a little thinking. It wasn't that hard. Oh, thank you. That is definitely a good thing to note. Okay. How does that square with where we were in our discovery tree? I think it's because this was the step. So we've switched away from a computed property. We're doing a parallel change to rounds. Have we finished that? I don't think so. Because we have the notion of a current round. We have all these calls to guesses subs index 0, which is, of course, not what you want. You want to say, what was the last guess? So that will be a new current guess. Yeah. Thank you, Copilot. Rounds current guess. Hey, first time chatter. Welcome, Soy Huer. Yeah, we'll find the feature NV. By the way, we've got a fair number of people here. Can we do a quick roll call? Where in the world are you? As much as you want to share. So for me, put it in the chat, even if you're a lurker. This is part of the fun of having a global ad hoc community. Hey, for another first-time chatter. Greetings to Scotland. That is part of my roots. Nightbot is at work. All right. So, okay, we are working on current guess. And here, once again, I think I can take the greetings. The Chells from the UK. This is so much fun to see where people are. I don't have to do this every time, but I just saw that there were a fair number of folks on, and I'm like, where are you? Keep putting it in the chat. If you haven't done your hello from wherever you are in the world. Ah, yeah, Tehran. This is making my day. Okay, current guess. We can do this in a big step, like this. Every Argentina. So we can say rounds, current guess, and replace them all instead of one at a time, just because we know what they all look like. They all look like that. So let's do it. Boom. And that is a test supporter refactoring of introduce current guess. Now I'm curious, like if we look at these now, where the current guess lives, you know, it's still not what we want to have multiple rounds, but it is a step there, and it got rid of all the nasty indices. What other feature envy might we have? Oh, we have dead code, right? No, we don't have dead code because there was no redirection. Thank you. The law of Demeter. I like to phrase the law of Demeter as you can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but don't pick your friend's nose. All calls that use current guess can directly call rounds since there is only one active round. So if we're looking at rounds, the way to spot Demeter violations is multiple dots. That is a good idea. Let's start doing this. This is down here as a note of something that would be fun if the script could do for me. If it were trained on like maybe I could select the risk, I don't know, and it could generate the message, or it could learn about Arlo's commit notation. I'm going to say this is done, but that we are doing now. Let's see where this goes. As a good way to discover where we are. So is complete sure looks like something that belongs the rounds. We've got, let's imagine that we have multiple rounds, up to 10. What does is complete mean? It's not the same thing as win. I think it's whether or not it's filled out. Let's have a look. Server? What server? Yeah, but yeah, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, it looks like, so this is inside of a guess. Is the guess complete? So this is like, is current guess complete? Let's take a look at this. Oh, see, that's a funny thing. Where are the callers? Let's find out. It looks dead. Well, that's an easy way to clean up code. All right. Thanks much, Shark. Let's look at other uses of rounds. So we can see as I move up and down here what it looks like in the actual place where it's finding it. So let's see, code choice view, game rounds current guess. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. feedback pegs for a guest. Let's take a look at that. Well, that's only got one dot. Go back, John. Let's look for multiple dots after rounds. I think we're okay for now. We spotted some dead code. So that was, I'm going to call that done again for now. So we can continue next time with our parallel change of doing many of one. We are about at the hour. Any other thoughts? What did we do? This was a fairly focused session, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of notes. But anything else? There might still be feature envy, but yes, Law of Demeter is definitely a good thing. In the game screen, well, I mean, we do have the multiple dots there. Now, I was looking strictly at like what followed rounds, but we have game rounds current guess. So there is that. Really? Oh, man. Okay, so that is not done. Let's continue that next time. I'm going to bring that back as not done. Thank you, folks. I'm getting tired. Let's do. All right. That's good enough for now. Thank you for joining. And we'll pick up next week, chasing the Law of Demeter to find our feature envy and move more things into rounds, and then we'll expand our rounds into actually having multiple. I mean, I think that might finish the many of one, except that we haven't expanded into many yet. So that is that. Thank you for joining. Thank you for saying hello in the chat and sharing where you were. That was a lot of fun. Any other thoughts? Oh, for folks who are watching after the fact on YouTube, hey, thank you. I know not everyone can. This time doesn't work for everybody, of course. So thanks for watching, and give it a like and subscribe and all that. Thanks for all the folks in the chat and the live chat. Always good to have you. Take care, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.